From The Human Condition, A User's Manual by Arnold Kunst, September 20th. Even when I am sick and depressed, I love life. Artur Rubenstein. I remember taking my girlfriend to the San Francisco War Memorial Opera House to hear the great Artur Rubenstein, one of a handful of world-class interpreters of the piano music of Chopin and Beethoven. This was in 1965, 65 years after his dazzling Berlin debut at age 13. Remarkably, this old man was still at the top of his game. I had spent the princely sum of $9 for those 2 tickets. We sat 1,000 miles back up there in God's very own nosebleed section. We could barely see the 9-foot-long concert grand piano, never mind the famous man himself. But there is no mistaking the transcendent, crystalline, wildly passionate beauty he coaxed out of that instrument. That old man was the very incarnation of vitality. As a young man, I had for years felt curiously drawn not just to the vitality of his music, but also to the vitality of the man himself. I was particularly impressed at that night's performance at how he reacted to the thunderous applause of his enraptured audience. Between his bows he would straighten up, back ramrod straight, and hold his hands above his head, palms facing backward, fingers straight and slightly spread, as if to say, "You have these to thank for what just happened." What, I wondered, kept the 78-year-old at the top of a very narrow and fiercely competitive heap? I think I found out a few years later when I did some research on Rubenstein and learned that he had nearly committed suicide as a young man. I don't remember the details, but I very much remember the conclusion I came to at the time, young and naive though I was. Somehow the vitality I had heard that night and saw in the graciousness of that distinctive over-the-head gesture with his hands had everything to do with his up-close and personal confrontation with death that he had as a young man in Berlin. He had stood on the precipice of death itself, looked long and hard over the edge, and then stepped back. His reasons? Who can tell? But I am convinced it included making the likes of Chopin and Beethoven come alive, right down to the last sforzando, transporting one audience after another to the timeless, spaceless realm of those masters. He had once said, "At every concert, I leave a lot to the moment. I must have the unexpected, the unforeseen. I want to risk, to dare. I want to be surprised by what comes out. I want to enjoy it more than the audience. That's why the music can bloom anew." Even to this day, I count myself lucky that all those years ago, I was once in the presence of this remarkable man, whose own boundless vitality pierced clearly to the heart of heaven itself. Arnold Kunst.